All right, so on this one, so his car was the purchase price was $13,400. We're gonna set that number aside right now. He made 48 payments of $300 each, and then he also paid a down payment. So basically, how much more is he paying total than the purchase price of the car, the $13,400? So we're gonna take those other pieces and then compare that to what he actually paid. So 48 payments at $300 each. But then we also have to take into account that he did pay a down payment. So I want to include that as well to look at his total amount he put into this car. Now notice, this is one of our answers. Like one of the choices. The ACT is super smart about picking really good, bad choices. Good, wrong choices. So the fact that it has J and K on there is a really good indicator that it gets that you could maybe make a mistake on this. But it wants to know how much more, like, so this is how much he put into the car, but when he looked at it on the lot, it was $13,400. So how much more? We're now going to subtract that $13,400 from this. So he ended up paying $1,400 extra than had he walked there and walked on that day and paid cash for it. We're going to talk today a little bit about budgeting and planning and kind of things that we want to think about as you grow up and become an adult and plan for your life. And so talking about things that are expected and unexpected. Now, depending on how much your parents talk to you about money, you might know about some of this, and then others of you, maybe that's not even something you hear your parents talking about, or it's just not something that you're interested in, so you don't hear or think about it at all. I mean, from time to time, we talk to our kids about money, especially with buying a house and stuff, and what that means, and how we have to save money. But at the same time, also they're still kids, so I don't want them to worry too much about, adult issues. So, one of the things I want to make a list of is things that we expect to have to pay each month, and then things that are unexpected that maybe you don't realize can come up depending on the situation. Guys, your phone should be put away, please. So what are expected expenses that adults have? Yeah.
Bills.
So let's get more specific than just bills.
Mortgage.
A mortgage. Okay. Okay, hang on a second. So mortgage, I always have to say with an extra G there. Or rent. So this is to live in our house, we need to pay that. That's expected. Unless you're living in somebody's house for free, that would be something you should expect to pay. All right, what else? Electric. So our utilities will probably group together. So that's electric, if you have to pay for gas or water. So utilities. Yeah, so utilities is something that maybe, again, is something you don't always think of, that to turn your lights on in your house, when you ever have a parent that freaks out that you always leave the lights on, you're paying the electric bill for having your lights on. Now, sometimes if you're renting, part of this might be included, they might pay your electric or something, depending on the house. All right, what else? Other things you have to pay for. Have a good day, Jaylen. Yeah. So groceries, so food to eat for the month, so groceries.
Well, you just don't have to pay for groceries until shoplifting.
Shoplifting meat.
It's not that hard.
Just takes a cow.
You grow your own food. Just steal a cow from your local farm.
All right, what else? What are the things you have to pay for? What are all these adulting things that people complain about? Car insurance, so insurances.
Insurance.
Well, let's even talk about a car. So if there's a car payment or insurance.
rare situation, but it's still incredibly common. I don't
No, it's okay.
know, like, it's a bad habit. That's all it is.
What's your bad habit?
Cigarettes or gambling.
Okay, so cigarettes or gambling. Okay, so what do you think that would like fall under if I was trying to budget? Maybe unexpected.
It depends.
But if it's a regular addiction, something you have to like that you do every budget, you can maybe call that, I don't know, maybe an entertainment or like other expenses. Somehow if you're trying to make a family budget, if you know you spend that much every month on cigarettes, alcohol, whatever it happens to be, that would be something you want to budget. Those things aren't cheap. So that might be, are we okay with calling that entertainment? I don't know. Like,
drugs are my entertainment.
Yeah, those are my entertainment.
I'm assuming most drug addicts aren't budgeting that, but maybe they are. Maybe that's like a high-end like budget.
Depends on what kind of addict.
Entertainment, I meant entertainment. But, oh gosh, what just happened there?
Wow.
Smells fun.
Look at what you have done.
All right, so I want you guys to mention, hi, changed. All right.
Yo, Dr. Moss is looking a little sick today.
So, and I want to talk to you guys about this because, I mean, initially,
Ryan Moss impersonator in the room.
what should we call him?
Mayan Ross.
Yeah, that's true.
That's kind of sauce.
Bob
Alright.
Ross is a long
Alright.
cousin.
So, here, Ryan, jump back in with us up here.
I don't.
If you need your glasses, just so you should probably wear your glasses.
Right, you should wear your
Just
glasses
wear
how
it.
it goes.
Just wear the fake
So,
glasses on top.
As much as Clayton thought he was giving a bad example or like a bad suggestion,
That's not.
it's something that, like, again, if you're tight on a budget and maybe you're talking about a place where you can cut or a place that you can maybe save some money, maybe quitting smoking is something that someone should consider doing if they should consider doing that anyhow, but maybe that could go in their entertainment budget. Yeah, what else? So like medical supplies.
Well, it depends
Over-the-counter
if you have
drugs.
It depends if you have a condition. of some
Oh, well,
sort.
right. If you're diabetic.
In the street or in the store?
Okay, guys. So, if you're diabetic, a medical supply would be like having your insulin, having like all that stuff. It adds up. So again, we're trying to think about stuff we can plan for, and that would be something like I take a monthly like medicine that I have each month, and that's something that I know is going to come. Now, typically with insurance, that might be lower, but I'm sure you've heard about cost of prescription drugs depending on what it is, and it can get really high. I know I have friends that have diabetes that they pay a lot for their diabetes, and insulin and stuff they have to do, and all the different pumps they have and stuff that they work on. All right, what else? When you guys go home, what other things do you do that like you need to like have to live in your house? Phone bill. So phone,
You don't-
also
you-
internet,
sometimes
like,
you don't
right?
need
Like,
that stuff.
I
It's
mean-
not required.
right,
Stick to the honor.
right. Okay.
I feel like if you go to the Midwest, or if you live in northern Wisconsin, they don't live up there.
I watched one of those like Amish, like running away from the Amish shows, like a reality show. And that's one of the things when they go away, like they have all this money and they're like, how do you have all this money? Well, because like nothing is very expensive if you're Amish because you're not buying. So the phone and internet would probably be something worth budgeting. I mean, I know our internet is not cheap because we have good internet and we live in the country. So we have pretty like that's a big like ticket item in our monthly budget. It's
You
something.
got to have.
Yeah, well, right. I mean, we just know that that's something like Mr. Donahue would not be happy if he doesn't get to stream his like games and his like he can watch all the World Series games and stuff.
But then he can
I have
watch
another
a
one.
practical
All right.
joke.
Probably really dumb. Gas.
No, gas is huge, and that maybe you put that in with your car payment, but especially gas prices when they're high.
Especially now.
Yeah. What about if you have a kid? What's an extra expense?
Toys.
Do like a
What?
sport, and then just if you don't want it, just leave it on your
Food,
plate.
yeah, food would go in groceries.
Maybe like driving.
You could just sell the kid.
Bruh.
You can
All
live
right,
with
what
one
business
kid.
does your parent do? Does your mom run?
Daycare.
Is daycare cheap?
Yep.
Yes.
No, daycare. So if you have a little one and you need to pay daycare for them, Okay.
Just have a dog and a baby. They can entertain them.
Doggy daycare, maybe you send your dog to daycare.
That's just a squirrel dog.
Yeah, that's a
Miss
dog.
Miller's dog goes to daycare.
Spoiled brat.
It depends. If the dog has currently bad separation anxiety, sure, maybe. But just pay like someone. A few
Mr.
bucks an
Donahue
hour
would never
for-
okay doggy daycare. That would be
Yeah.
a big fat
Why
no for
not?
him if I was ever like, you should send the dogs to daycare.
No, I'm just worried that one of these days, just because your dogs sit out front, and like, don't come towards the road.
No, they have the shock collar. So I mean, because even when I walk like to the mailbox, they like wait at the line, like so they have a shock collar. Like it's a underground. I know they do scare, but they like watching in the front yard. So
Also,
They just-
That's not
our
bad.
dog,
Don't
Sage used to have a buzz.
So we have to take their collar off in order when they go in the car. But my one dog, she's freaked out. Like until we get out of the driveway, she's like nervous wreck thinking she's gonna be zapped. So so I take the collar off. I try to be really deliberate and like hanging on the hook. Look, you're okay. And then now let's get in the car. She's still like freaked out. She doesn't want to get in the car. Like she doesn't trust me. But walks, they're fine. Walks, they just like
We had
take off.
like a 500 feet perimeter around the house, so she would go outside and stuff. But after like a few months of that, she doesn't go outside even without the car.
Yeah, no, they love their invisible fence, so
Dear Lord.
they're happy.
My dog
I'm
didn't
gonna-
like the collar after I shocked her with his.
Yeah, and they've only been shocked like 1 or 2 times. It beeps, it warns them when they get close and they go like hightail it back into the yard that they're like beep beep.
It just sounds like a
Accidentally shot the dog at full power.
I actually shocked myself to check it. I mean, I was like, 'cause I didn't think it was working at first, so like I went and shocked it and like I shocked my thigh. Like I figured that'd be
Oh, you didn't put the collar on?
like not around my neck.
Put it on.
No, I figured my thigh was like a little more meaty than my neck. I'm a little-
My dog had a hyper spree when I put the.
Well, if
when I-
you're
when
gonna
I hit
shock
the
the
alarm.
dog, maybe you need to know how.
I know.
Cat.
My dog is like a 60-pound pit bull. She's fine. Like she gets hit in the head with something and she just like keeps walking. Like she's yeah.
What happened?
Her name is Maze. I'll show you a picture a little later. She's amazing. Yeah, she's like her head is just ginormous. It's like she actually hit me in the head the other day and my face still hurts. Like she was jumping up. She was really excited. We were going for a walk and I was putting her collar on and she like hit me. Like right here, I keep waiting for a bruise to show up. 'Cause she loves us.
They like
My dog spreads like butter.
All right, so guys, all of these things are things that we would be able to budget for, like as a family, as a a group of people that are living together. These are things we could budget for that I could plan on how much I'm going to pay per month. This is actually something that, as an adult, I do. I have a spreadsheet that I put it in just so that I know like how much more I have to pay for certain things, how much we can put into savings, so that I can plan a little bit. Now, one of the things is sometimes people call one of their expected expenses savings. Like they put aside like $500 every month for unexpected things to come up. So, what are some things that are unexpected that could happen?
Getting
That,
hit in the head with a car.
so car accident.
no, that's
No, like, not even a car accident, just getting hit in the head with a car. Not in a car. That's what happened to
So-
my dad.
accidentally.
Guess where he was?
So are you
Chicago.
saying you got hit in the head?
My
with
dad
on
was.
purpose?
No, my dad was
So-
working down in Chicago and some lady backed into his head. He was working on a sign base and some lady pressed the gas instead of the brake going reverse and beamed back.
Oh my gosh.
Accidentally hits the gas.
Okay,
What, did he
so-
drop his pocket?
No,
Okay,
he
guys.
worked on a sign base, he was doing concrete.
Now, an accident or injury is definitely something to worry about. One of the things is maybe your car has damage, maybe you have damage on yourself, and then you have more medical bills. Maybe you can't work for a little while. So accidents or injuries are unexpected. So not planning ahead for something, like let's say you have to have knee surgery and you have to be out of work and you don't have sick days or something to make up for that. So those are important to like kind of know that could happen.
Hidden
All right.
fees.
Hidden fees. Hidden
Yeah,
fees.
there's
And that-
You only paid $2,000 in legal
Alright.
fees.
What else could happen? Other bad things that could happen, or not even bad.
fines.
What?
Fines.
Fines. So you could get like a ticket. I guess we could talk about fines or get a
I was
speeding
thinking more
ticket.
felonies.
Felonies.
That works too.
You get arrested. I don't know.
You lose your job and you can't pay for everything.
Yeah.
Like if something in your house breaks.
Yeah. So yeah.
Jeez, kid.
That's under incidents.
broken
Apply-
child.
Well, I think.
What?
Sometimes.
So
Why?
one of the things I'm gonna put in there is car repairs. That's something that's a big expense. That's not something I can plan for. I can't say like next month I anticipate that I'm gonna, I'm gonna need a new muffler or something like that. If I know that's something.
You
don't need no
Yeah,
muffler.
I mean, yeah, there's things. So Ryan mentioned a loss of job. Like, what if you lost your job?
Oh.
I mean, if all of a sudden your job says don't come back tomorrow, I mean, even like with the COVID thing that like, hey, work jobs are shut down, and if your job's not gonna pay you during that time, all of a sudden your paychecks stop. Like, that kind of causes an issue with all of this.
Yeah, we don't want you anymore.
Could happen.
Someone
Let's do
died.
like Ryan.
So
over
a
there,
death,
96
so-
and the 50
You don't know
pounds.
expenses. I don't understand why we pay so much for someone that died.
Dolph.
They're not gonna pay you back.
Don't.
Not good. It's not gonna pay you back.
Yeah.
Sounds like somebody missed.
All you're gonna do is just
Alright.
you're gonna literally bury a few thousand.
So
dollars
death,
in the
so like having someone in your house die, but then also like a funeral is expensive, so having to pay for a funeral. Yes.
On the flip side, maybe like a pregnancy.
Yeah, so like, I mean, good, bad, otherwise, whatever. So pregnancy.
A
Bruh.
whoopsie child.
No, it's
No.
just a child.
It's just an accident.
Now, pregnant to have children is expensive, but also to be pregnant is expensive. I mean, you have to go to the doctor a lot more.
Can't work.
Illnesses or diseases.
Yeah, so yeah, we could probably put that in. Okay.
Vacation.
Natural avoidance.
All right. So actually, vacation might have gone in here for entertainment, but maybe you decide on a whim to go somewhere that might be unexpected, and that's kind of like making a decision about that. So we could keep making this list forever, and to be honest, it is kind
That
of
has
like,
to be a limit.
I mean, I don't know. There's a limit.
There's
Yeah.
only so much money you can
Put a
spend.
broken
you know.
child on there.
Broken child. How is your child broken? Isn't that endurance illness or disease?
No,
I think
it's
that would be
completely
death
different.
slash
No, it's
funeral.
just medical supplies.
No, that's like cancer.
Okay, so broken child.
Wouldn't that be just like will?
All right. Oh.
You're broken too.
Okay.
Honestly, all your guys' moms probably have to put you guys in the budget because you're always so broken.
Okay.
I'm not in the
What's the
budget.
wrong about being broken?
So, I'm hoping that this list helps you to realize why saving is important. Why would saving be important? Why would setting aside and having some money in savings be important? Not living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah.
So you don't become homeless.
So you don't become homeless because saving, so having some extra.
If you're homeless, just buy a home.
No, you can just look at your van.
Okay, guys, because yeah, I mean, if you can't pay your rent, you can't pay your mortgage, that's a huge expense that maybe you're just like, that's what's got to go because I can't pay that. Someone else raise their hand.
That was me.
Yeah.
Allows you to buy things more expensive over time.
Yeah, so like that's kind of what I was talking with Clayton. Like he mentioned a vacation. Like so right now, if someone said let's go on like a girls trip somewhere. Like, do I have that money in my savings? I wouldn't want to just like
Clayton, you're going on a girls trip?
girls trip. Clayton was worried about his girls trip. So
Nope.
that's what.
Yeah, I
I'm
was
worried
worried
about
about
that trip.
it.
He was planning on that slipper party for
Clayton,
Right.
it's okay to kiss the homies.
Right.
All it means to assume I have friends in the first place.
Make sure only say no homo first.
Hey guys.
Make sure you're wearing.
Hey.
Also make sure they
Okay.
allow
Debbie.
I'm going to Germany.
So what I wrote was savings important is to allow flexibility for other options. So how else do I want to spend my money? Do I want to do something that wasn't on my list of expenses that, like, if I don't have savings, I'm cutting into my other spend, like the money I have to give out. Do you have anything else?
I was gonna say just so like you feel comfortable with like kind of things you want.
Yeah, so like, yeah, that we have those options that I'm not like, yikes, I don't have $100 to go do this weekend or something like that.
You could just go go dance for a day.
Right,
Right.
yes, exactly. Let's bring go-go dancing back into it. Thanks for at least calling it go-go dancing.
Yeah.
All right, so question is, let's say we don't have savings and we don't have enough to pay our bills for the month. What can we do? Yeah.
Max out your credit card and go off grid.
Okay.
I have none, and it's a lot more illegal.
Welcome back, Miss Miller.
We're learning great life lessons. What do you do if you can't pay your bills for the month,
Sell your.
max your credit card and go off grid.
I have another one.
Okay.
That works,
You
but it's
ask
also
everyone you
creepy
know
too.
for $5 or $10.
Yeah. Pay, that's GoFundMe, right? We have like a website for that now.
Go for it, it's more fun.
This is a lot more illegal, but it still works.
What's that?
Sell drugs.
Okay.
It still works.
I mean it.
Okay.
Bank
So-
robbery,
Don't sell essential
All right.
oils.
Yeah.
rob a gas station, or bank.
Just sell
Sell your
your
kidneys.
organs.
Sell your organs. Okay. Kidney, whatever. Okay. Yeah. You
Yeah,
probably
sell
want to
your
sell
organs.
all organs because some of you need.
Sell your
Okay.
little sister on the black
You
market.
can't afford to lose some of yours.
Okay. So guys. So actually, and so this is kind of like some of our desperation comments is kind of what some people get themselves into that situation. I mean, even going and asking friends and family, that might be a hard thing to do for some people. I mean, because you're like, I can't pay my bills this month because my car broke down. I mean, you hear about situations like that. I mean, I can see people post that like on Facebook of like the buy-sell trade sites that they're having a hard time. They just want people's money. Maxing out a credit card. This gets back to last chapter. We learned that maxing out a credit card, like Clayton kept saying, why don't they just pay it off? Why don't they? This is the easiest. This is probably the go-to thing that everyone does because it's easy. Like I have this credit card, I have this line of credit. Why don't I run it up? Obviously, living off grid is a whole nother story. But like, or you have if you ever come back on grid, they find you, and now you still have that outstanding credit, and now it's even worse. But we're kind of in a bad spot if we haven't saved. And this is how people get in credit card debt. This is how people end up homeless. Like, and kind of all those things sound funny or like initially when we're talking about it, but like keeping on track of your finances is a big thing. So one of the things to talk, we don't have to do this right now because you're probably not too worried about spending, is thinking about areas of your life that you can cut back on your spending. So like going back to this list, so there's been times that I know we have a big expense. Some of these places, is there somewhere I can cut back? I can't say we're not like having a mortgage for this month, but I can look at something like entertainment, like cutting back there, like maybe not going out to eat as many times in a month, or maybe not going to the going out to the movies, maybe renting at home or something like that. Yeah.
Watch Practical Jokers anymore.
Right. So, like thinking about that, there's gonna be places you can maybe cut back, and then there's places that they're kind of like deal breakers, or maybe we have a mortgage that's too high. Maybe we have to look at like a cheaper place to live. So those are things that we definitely have to look at. All right, so if you guys could flip your page over.